Voices here sounds very clear. Savings are grand, Bahama land. Family is there, bringing good cheer. Sun, sea, and sand, they'll understand. New Providence, San Salvador, Grand Bahama, Equatorial. Where voices hit families just for Christmas. Where voices hit families just for Christmas. Call Emily and Monkey, call Abaco and Monkey, call Nanawa and Cobra Town and Fresh Creek. That island too. Call your grandma and your grandpa. They'd love to hear from you this year. Where voices hit families just for Christmas. Where voices hit families just for Christmas.
Sign up for Rap Voice Bahamaland for as low as $14.99 a month with unlimited local and nationwide calling. You'll be entered to win your mortgage and utilities for a full year. Rap Voice Bahamaland.
Rap voices here, sounds very clear. Say things are grand, Bahamaland.
NB12 speaks with Haitian survivors about the deadly voyage that killed dozens of migrants.
It actually broke apart.
The Prime Minister sends a message to criminals. The opposition leader also weighs in on crime. More than 100 contracts signed for small home repairs. Find out the latest on the VAT debate, and the Bahamas loses a noted journalist. Those stories and more coming up. I'm Nikia DeVoe, and this is NB12. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us here at Cable 12 Studios. Here are the stories coming out of the NB12 newsroom this evening. Royal Bahamas Defense Force and U.S. Coast Guard personnel today rescued one more Haitian migrant off Exuma after returning another 110 migrants rescued from that same disaster earlier today. The tragic trip claimed the lives of at least 30 Haitians. Tonight, Juan McCartney tells us what some of those migrants who lived went through as they took that perilous voyage.
This is the vessel that brought those migrants to New Providence at the Coral Harbor base this morning. When they got off weak, dehydrated, and scared pretty much to death, they told a story of chaos and panic on the sea. A journey, days long, without food and water at the end of it, that caused many to lose their lives. It's a journey, though, that some of them say they would take again. Defense Force officials said they got word on Monday from a group of 6 men who made it from that vessel to mainland Exuma that perhaps hundreds more were still stuck on the wreck at Harvey Key. U.S. Coast Guard Lieutenant Commander Douglas Janish said the Defense Force asked them to check it out as they'd sighted that vessel as early as Friday.
It was obviously a very tragic situation that was unfolding. At that point, we did deploy at least, I think, 10 inflatable rafts, temporary inflatable rafts for people to cling on to. We also hoisted 13 people to safety out of the water and then transported them to Staniel Key before it got dark on Monday, or even actually after it got dark.
The Coast Guard monitored the wreck through the night until the Defense Force arrived around 4 a.m. on the HMBS Yellow Elder with 31 Marines as opposed to the ship's normal contingent of 19. That's according to Senior Lieutenant Carlin Bethel, who headed that mission.
It's a very, very shallow area, so the ship itself couldn't go into the actual location of the vessel that was aground, so we took our small boats out. The small boats rendered assistance to them from our ship. We were anchored up 2.4 miles off.
When all 91 males and 19 females arrived at the base after midnight, they appeared shaken, some needing to be carted out on stretchers, others barely able to stand, moments away from medical care. The dead were taken off the ship one by one till all 6 corpses were loaded into waiting vehicles. Among those who lived to tell the tale of being stranded at sea for 3 days was Yolande Joseph, a 40-year-old from Port DuPay, who told us through translator Luby Georges that she left her children in Haiti in search of a better life.
She's saying is that they left Haiti on Monday last week Monday, and sometime around Saturday, the boat ran ashore and it capsized. and after it capsized, they tried to actually flip the boat over. And as they were trying to flip the boat over, it actually broke apart. Broke apart, and some persons tried to take pieces of planks, plywood, that sort of stuff, and tried to, go over to try to get to the mainland. And in an attempt to try to get to the mainland, some of the persons are the ones who actually perished. And them themselves, they actually, after seeing persons trying to go and perishing, they stayed on the boat for a couple of days waiting and hoping. And she said, had she have anybody's number, because she has a phone, had she had anybody's number here in Nassau, she would have called somebody from Saturday.
23-year-old Kate Lee Joseph, who said she'd been standing for quite some time because her backside hurt too much to sit down, also left her children in St. Mark, Haiti. Ask her why she came here. She has family here. Does she know anyone here? Why did she get on a boat and jeopardize her life?
She left Haiti because of economic reasons. Things are not good in Haiti, and she actually has a sister here, but she says her sister doesn't check for her. So I asked, when you touched down, were you going to stay with your sister, or were you going to seek your sister out? She actually said no.
However, Kate told us she does have other family in New Providence and a boyfriend who lives on Gladstone Road. She said during the ordeal, in the sun and the wind and the rain, after the food and water they brought ran out, she lost her mind. But she said she came back to her senses as the vessel brought them to the base. 19-year-old John Will Charles of Port DuPay, a fisherman and a welder, said he chose to keep his wits about him. What was it like on the boat as they waited for help?
Okay, après bâtiment te get a chavirer. Parlez-moi de expérience pour. Okay. Well, basically what he's saying is his experience. He, as a fisherman, he was used to waters, so he was kind of calm. After the boat capsized, persons were going crazy. They started fighting, beating each another, that sort of stuff, for jockeying for position on the boat. But he climbed up on the sail and hid away from everybody. And he took a red shirt that he said he had. He tore it and started waving it around and saying, hopefully somebody on another boat, a helicopter, would see this red shirt. And what he said is that at low tide, persons could have seen the sandbanks, and they were heading towards the sandbanks thinking it was land. And high tide came back, and as a result of that, that's why some of those persons actually lost their lives.
Everyone we spoke to said the voyage was to New Providence, not the United States. John Will Charles said given the chance, he will try to return to New Providence. Police and immigration officials have yet to say if they've identified the captain of the ship, and they're certain this was a smuggling operation. But everyone we spoke to said the trip was gratis, free. Though Haitian ambassador to the Bahamas Antonio Rodrigue isn't buying that, he said the migrants are likely protecting someone, and smuggling and human trafficking laws should be strengthened in both countries.
We have to discourage those who are organizing those kind of activities.
Because of the efforts of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force and the U.S. Coast Guard, those who survived this tragedy were sent to the Carmichael Road Detention Center and will likely be repatriated in the coming days, though this will likely not be the end of the human migration problem from Haiti. As Lieutenant Commander Janice said, the Coast Guard has a saying, thousands try, but hundreds die. He and other officials are urging Haitians not to try anymore. Reporting for MB12. I'm Juan McCartney.
With a string of shootings and 3 murders occurring in just over a 24-hour period this week, Prime Minister Perry Christie today spoke out about crime. While addressing a crowd of contractors who were awarded urban renewal jobs, the Prime Minister referenced recent drive-by shootings, saying his administration would not allow armed thugs to take over the country. Our Jasmine Bonamy has more in this report.
During his speech this morning, the Prime Minister commented on crime, admitting that it has gotten out of control and harsh measures must be implemented in order to clamp down on crime. The Prime Minister's comments came a day after a shooting incident in Montel Heights killed one man and landed 3 others in hospital. 14 hours before that shooting, the sister of one of the men shot yesterday was gunned down outside her home on DeVoe Street and Frogman Lane. And yesterday night, another man was bludgeoned to death during an altercation. Incidents like these prompted this response from the Prime Minister this morning, who insisted he is committed to stomping out record levels of crime.
And I am fundamentally opposed to young men who arrogate unto themselves, for whatever reason, the right to go around shooting people. It is wrong, and I will relentlessly, every day, make an effort to stamp it out.
The Prime Minister added that tough decisions must be made, and that may include personal sacrifices by residents.
And what we have to do is not allow the brothers out there who with impunity drive round with guns in their hands and reap havoc on our country. Do not believe for one moment any of you could live in comfort in your country if that continues unabated. Whatever it takes to stop it. And remember this now, because sometimes personal freedoms have to be encroached upon to stop madness.
During its campaign for the 2012 general election, the Progressive Liberal Party erected billboards highlighting the number of murders since the Ingram administration came into office. The PLP also promised it had a plan to tackle crime. Today, Christie said his government is committed to carrying out that plan.
No government can stand by and allow this to happen, because no matter where you live in the Bahamas and how much you think it doesn't affect you, it does.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.
Well, that's not how the opposition leader sees it. As this year's murder count hits the triple digits, Free National Movement leader Dr. Hubert Minnis is crying shame on the Christie administration. Minnis said that the PLP claimed to have all the answers to crime, but now, 18 months later, he says the bloodshed continues.
Crime appears to be out of control. This is a government that came in with a solution to crime. In spite of that, we see crime continue to escalate. And I think they should hold their heads in shame, knowing what they did to the Bahamian populace just to win an election. They were prepared to do anything to win the election. They won the election, they promised certain things, now deliver.
However, Minnis says he doesn't believe the recent spate of shootings is the result of government's decision to restructure 12-hour work shifts. He believes that the country would truly see a decrease in crime if the government puts more young Bahamians to work as promised.
When you look for a solution to crime, jobs. People need jobs. You promise 10,000 jobs, that is what they need. If they have jobs, you find that crimes decrease. You've just made a trip to Dubai, you're looking at investment. Fine, that's for an investment. The small businessmen here, they need help also.
When NB12 comes back, Christie responds to suggestions on that. Stay with us.